Well, hello, hello, hello. It's Beyond Babbitt, and this is your host, Brian Anthony. Well, I'm not going to go into the headlines today. We have more war news, but we have something more important to talk about. Let's get into the war news first, shall we? So, the only thing that's changed within the last 24 hours is that China has now said, said that they're sending troops to Syria as well. So, they're all gathering in Syria for the big war, and they said they're there to support Russia. Mm. So this could be the real one. This thing could go hot. One wrong move, and we have a Gulf of Tonkin incident. Uh, you know, sink the wrong ship, either false flag or accidental on purpose. The New World Order gets their war. They get to take us into World War III. They get to kill off a third of the Earth. They get to go live with the FEMA camps. They get to do the reset, the economic reset, new currencies. They get to the house always wins. They get to crash the stock market and take everything. They close the banks. So you have a bank run. You go try to, like what happened in Greece, man. When you go to the ATM, you can only get $50 out per day or $20 out. Not like 500 or 1,000 or 300 like it used to be. No, we're rationing $20 a day, maybe 10. Oh, by the way, gas went up 20 cents overnight. That's a good sign that something bad is about to happen. So we don't know. We still don't know. It's still wars and rumors of wars. Matthew 24, Luke 21, Mark 13. Um, what we do know is this, though, and this is what we're going to talk about. And I have something I would like to read to you. So let me pose a question to you first to kind of get you to get your mind in the right stage and the right mind frame to set the scenery for this conversation. Deep thought, because we know about preparedness, right? We know about having all the provisions, physical necessary provisions you need because the lights may go off for a few hours, or a few days, or a few months. Worst case scenario, a few years. No one knows. These are the unknowns, the unknown factors. And if we do go to war, I hope we win because the U.S. has never been in a war. Yeah, besides the war, where the Civil War, and then where we got our independence on our soil, where another country's army invaded and was on our soil. I had a few guys from Russia to write and comment, and they were like, they want to kill the enemy, and we're the enemy, and it's our fault, and they're gonna hang all of us and everything like that. Good luck with that. I mean, if this thing jumps off, the people here are a lot tougher than what you think, than what they show you on television. And also, um, your gun grab plan is not working. No, the smart people are not giving it up. There's a saying we have where I come from, in the hood, in the ghetto. They say, I'd rather the, the laws, the police to catch me with it than my enemies to catch me without it. So even if they do say turn it in, good luck with that as well. Yeah, so if you can't disarm the citizenry, what are you going to do? And some even say that the invading army would be the blue helmets, the peacekeepers. Well, you know what happens every country that they go to, the peacekeepers? Oh, man. They rape the women. They spread all type of venereal diseases, cholera and such. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What happens to women in times of war? What happens to the women during times of war? It's not like World War I where we sent troops out, World War II where we sent troops out, Korea where we sent troops out, Vietnam, where we sent troops out. What about if troops come here? Then what? What about if they shut down the highways? Then what? What if they have patrols in your neighborhood? Then what? So before we get into that discussion, that brings me to another topic right quick. There's a guy, an Argentinian born man, Ernesto Che Guevara. Feared, revered, just like Sun Tzu is credited for the art of war and knowing military strategy and so on and so forth. Ernesto Che Guevara was the greatest guerrilla war fighter since Carthage, since Hannibal. He defeated most of the countries in Africa have their freedom today thanks to Che. He wrote several books about it, the Motorcycle Diaries and several others. It's not limited to that, but Ernesto Che Guevara was a doctor and a dentist from Argentina, and he befriended Fidel Castro, helped with the Cuban Revolution, and became a high-ranking member in Fidel Castro's army. Well, when the other nations were trying to throw off the colonialist, the imperialist Cuba, Castro sent Che around the world, guerrilla warfare. So that's some things you must know. Now, don't forget about the subject. We're going to talk about what happens to the women during the war. But first, since our Russian friends are saying how they're going to kill us, hang us, stretch us out, let me just give my real friends some words of advice just in case they try it. Never underestimate the Russians, or anyone else for that matter. So we take all threats seriously. Okay. So Ernesto Che Guevara, there's a lot of things he taught. Like, a guerrilla warfare is hit and run, hit and run. You can't go army to army because you're always going to be outgunned. You're always going to be outmanned. You have to win the hearts and the minds of the community because you have to move around like a ghost, hide in people's houses. They're going to have to feed you, give you shoes, clothe you, hide you from the invading forces when they go house to house searching. And you have to trust them. They're going to have to be able to trust you. Otherwise, they'll snitch. And then it's off with the head. If you're caught, it's off with the head. The Bible even says, he who kills with the sword must be killed by the sword. Amen. That's how it goes. Good or bad. I mean, she's talking about in the time of war, and it's not saying it's a bad thing, but if you join the fight, you know that's the consequence for fighting the invaders. If you're caught, you'll die. Yes. So back to what I was saying about Ernesto Che Guevara. So you're always going to have the smaller troops. So you take pot shots. You see a big army. If you take one shot, they'll aim in on that area. You guys will die. So you shoot one bullet from over here, that guy has to run. You shoot one bullet from over here, that guy has to run. And it's just cat and mouse. Don't let them catch you. That's it. And never give up fighting. Never give up fighting. Day or night. Yeah. You should go and watch some of his movies, buy some of his books, because this could get really long. I had a Marine friend. I'm going to talk about this two more points, and then we'll get to what we need to talk to. Shout out to Curtis, man. Kurt D. So we were talking military strategy years ago. Talking about what kind of firearms you should have, and I was naming my favorites and what I want, and he was naming his, and he told me some of the choices of mine were bad, and I was like, why is that? He had, like I said, he was a Marine, so he was a strategic thinker. He said that, I don't know if they taught him this, or he said that by the statistics, most people have this type of weapon, this caliber weapon, so-and-so. So it'll be easier if you run out of ammo, you may find more ammo. Someone else left it, or maybe a dead body has ammo that you could use, and you can keep going. So I was like, well, if you find a dead body, he probably has a gun on it. You can use his gun. And he was like, no, your gun is your weapon. You know your weapon inside and out. The accuracy of it. You know whether to shoot high, low, to the left, or to the right. You don't know that other weapon. So you would want to use their ammo, not their weapon, unless you don't have a weapon. Or if someone in your group doesn't have a weapon, then you can get theirs and use it. But I'd be careful for that too. I spoke about a guy named Meatball long ago. He was in the Vietnam War, and they used to booby trap dead bodies. Yeah, so if the enemy is killed, they booby trap the body. When the other enemies come to try to retrieve the body, move the body, boom, a bunch of them go up in smoke. So when you see a dead body, it's possible there could be a bomb attached, some type of tripwire or IED. And if you touch it, you could go up in smoke. One other thing, shout out to Wilski, man. I learned this from Wilski. So back to that. So that was just to say that you want to use calibers that look at your area, the statistics. You want to be in this situation. You want to be in the in crowd. So if everybody in your area is using 9mm, guess what? You need to use a 9mm. They're using 40. You need to use a 40. Whatever, in this case, because it's safety in numbers that way. Because if you run out of ammo, it's much easier to find some laying around, or someone throw you some, or like I said, you can pick it up off of a dead body. Okay, shout out to Wilski. So we were talking. This is a friend of mine who was in the Army, and he was saw some action during the Clinton years in Bosnia and some other places. And you see, on duty, you always have to have your weapon, or they'll write you up and all type of stuff. And I'm like, okay. So, and he was like, I was like, so how? I mean, so it was something about the distance of the weapon. So that I asked, I was like, so how far away? I mean, does your weapon have to be before you get rolled up or something? He said, oh, arm length. He stretched out his arm. If you can't reach out your arm and put your hand on your weapon, you're in violation. Yeah. So in other words, it always got to be on you or right next to you. It ain't no, I'm going to leave it right here and go to the bathroom. Guess what? Take it to the bathroom with you. Word of advice, just in case this thing pops off. It's always good to be prepared. Okay. And was I going to talk about more of the Ernesto Che Guevara tactics? Probably, but probably not. You should look it up. He has movies, videos, DVDs, books. And you can learn a lot from this guy. Yeah. So now, what happens to women during the war? Especially if an invading army comes on the territory. There is a man, a famous conqueror, one of the most famous warriors. Temujin was his name. Who is Temujin, you may ask? I'm glad you asked. Have you ever heard of Genghis Khan? See, the spoils of war is usually the resources, the silver, the gold, the oil, and everything else that's anything of value. It's the booty. And it was that to Temujin, to Genghis Khan as well. But also women were the booty. The booty was the booty. You know what I'm saying? It's said now that of his descendants, he has probably about 16 million living descendants right now today. Over 16 million. And why is that? Because he had many, many wives, many, many girlfriends, many, many kids. I don't know how many. It's not hard to fathom that. At least 50. I mean, Osama bin Laden's dad had 50 kids or 52 kids or something like that. And when you have someone who's like Temujin, who's in so many wars and people gift you wives and here, take these 10, take this 5, because they'd kill all the men or put them in subjection, make them slaves, and keep the women to themselves. Yes. Yes. Sometimes they'd kill all the kids too. Yeah. Like an animal. Kill the kids. You're going to have my kids. And so that's how most of China Most of the men in China and that area has his DNA, Temujin. So that's how many wars, women he had. So that's what happens to a woman during a war. Look at some of the recent wars and what's happened to these women. Rape, it's nothing. It's just an everyday thing. Because most invading armies are all men. All that testosterone. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ooh, all they do is fight and eat, cuss and fuss. And then when they see a woman, ooh, how long has it been since you touched a woman? Since you smelled a woman? Ooh, women, ooh, you're in trouble. So let's hope all of you have men around. Husbands, boyfriends, dads, brothers, and all this old independent woman stuff. You're going to be in trouble. So that's what I want to talk about today. No, that's it for the war news. And I just want to solidify that by reading you a passage from Isaiah. And he spoke about what's going to happen to Babylon. I don't know if he was meaning the Babylon back then or Mystery Babylon. Some would say that Mystery Babylon is the good old US of A. So let's read it, right? Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 13. And this is a short chapter. It's around somewhere around verse 16 or something that I want to get to. But we're just going to read the whole thing. It's only like 22 verses. Let's hope I get through it really smoothly. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones, for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise, of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all the hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. And he shall destroy the sinners therein out of it. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold. Let me repeat that. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. There they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Ooh, just sound like a lot of horny men going through the woman like she's some food, like a delicacy, and passing her around. Everybody get a turn. How big is an army? How big is I don't know the terms, 5,000 men, 2,000. How big they roll when they come through the hood? 40, 50 deep, 200, 300, 400 deep. If it's only one woman or 10 women or 20 women, so be it. Man, you got to have some stamina. And who knows if they're going to keep you or if they get through with you, what they're going to do. Yeah. Okay, back to it. I'm going to read that verse one more time. Verse 16. Their children also, and just to verify this point, usually in a war when they kill the kids, they save the bullets. They just smash the baby's head. Either smash it against a tree or something like just stomp it with a boot. But don't waste a bullet because the bullet is for grown men, someone who's going to fight back. Sounds harsh, but that's war. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. The houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. The Medes happen to be, they used to call them the Medes and the Persians. Yes, Iran. Persia is Iran. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare the children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Man, let's pray that people are wrong, and this is not Mystery Babylon, because this is not talking about the Babylon of old. It's talking about the day of the Lord. And Mystery Babylon is in, Revelation 13. So we don't know where Mystery Babylon is, but America does fit the bill. Could be. Food for thought. Men, watch over your women, your wives and daughters, mothers and grandmothers. Watch over the widows. But all these so-called independent women, I don't need a man for nothing. Okay. The Bible also speaks about a time where 7 women would take hold of one man and be like, we just want your last name. We'll eat our own bread. In other words, they just want to be married. They just want a man. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, man, we got our own money. You don't need to do nothing financially for us. Just give me the meat and be a man. I don't mind. I will share you. Yeah, that's in the Bible. We might get there one day. Anyway, family, something to think about. Have discussions. Have an escape route, escape plan. Like-minded people. Anyway, Beyond Babbitt, over and out.